So I'm going live in two places. I'm going to be like looking here and I'm looking here. And it's been a little while since I've been live, but I got some things I want to share and that I'm really excited about and some things to offer. And if you are just meeting me, my name is Renee. And let's dive in. I have notes, by the way. I don't always have notes for stuff like this, but there's a few things I want to make sure that I really drive home and share today. And the title of this is Why Exhaustion is Not a Life Sentence, and it might just perhaps be your superpower. And this is a topic that I think not a lot of people talk about in this way, because when we talk about being exhausted or tired, it's usually related to maybe our lack of sleep or our gut health, or it might be related to, the stresses going on in our lives. But in this particular case, I want to name something. It's more like a soul tired, a literal exhaustion from just doing too much or being overstimulated. And I'm going to talk about what those things look like and what they might be. And, this is also for the person, by the way, and most people who follow my work, if you've done the meditation apps, you've done all the healing modalities, or at least you've been doing many of them, you are trying to eat well, you know the things to do, but you just don't feel like you have a lot of energy. And I would say, I don't know, for the last week or so where I happen to live, I know everyone's a different place in the world, it's been so gloomy. We're so gloomy outside and rainy. Like I haven't seen the sun in a while, and I know a lot of people are with me on this one, and it does pay a toll, right? Like we start to feel just kind of the gloom of the outdoors, and we have to work, it seems, extra harder just to be upbeat and vibrant and excited about life. So anyway, sometimes people are wondering, what am I doing wrong? Why am I so exhausted all the time? Why am I so tired? Well, this soul tired, and welcome for those of you who are joining. And I'm in two places at one time, by the way, which is kind of exciting. I haven't done two live streams in two different places at one time. But I know this from my own life, and I really just wanted to share it with all of you. I've had this pattern, and I'm a Somatic Life Coach for those of you who are just getting to know me, and a Holistic Nutrition Practitioner. And I've been doing this kind of work for 16 years in practice. But really for 25 years, hello, welcome everybody. I've been in this for a couple decades. And so when I share this story, it's really just about looking at our conditioning. So often we hear so many people these days talk about trauma, right? I think it's a buzzword, and it's real, right? We all can have some trauma. But I think more often than not, we also have conditioning. We've been conditioned to do things a certain way. And for me, part of my story was being conditioned to be in this kind of like constant working schedule, to getting to the point of burnout or actually burning out and then collapsing in exhaustion. And, my body gave me a lot of signals. And I don't know, chime in the chat or say like, I get this, like maybe that's you. And then we blame ourselves, like, oh, I'm just not motivated, or I'm avoiding, or whatever it might be. I'm having a bad day. And so this cycle that our body gets into, it's really a nervous system cycle. It's a cycle that can be exasperated by something else. Ironically, we are staring into the screens right now, but it can be exasperated, this exhaustion, by what we'll call dopamine addiction. And dopamine addiction is anything, and it could be sugar, it could be scrolling on social media, it could be watching TV or the news, or like Netflix and binge, which, by the way, I'm not saying like having a little treat and watching Netflix isn't awesome from time to time. It's not what I'm saying. But when we do these things as a pattern, as our way to come down off of hard work, what it does is it creates signals in our brain and patterning that keeps us addicted to the dopamine. And the reality is that our nervous system is just in this constant level of stimulation. And when we're in that place, it makes it really hard for us to find regulation. And so I'm going to be talking a little bit, not so much in this video, I'm just going to like drop the hint right now, but you're going to hear me say so much about something called Foundations. And Foundations is a group coaching and mentorship program that is 12 weeks. It's going to be starting up this summertime for those who are in the, Eastern Pacific time of the year, right? June, July, August. This is, I don't want to say my life's work, but kind of, right? It's like a whole decade of work. But when I say work, it's like the teachings, the work, the inner work that I have done with myself, my own coaches, my clients. It's what I've written my book about, right? So it's just like, I'm so excited, and I'm taking applications for that right now. And so a lot of the things I'm going to be talking about today, I am going to be continuing for the next 5 weeks after this. So this is a bit of an introduction, not just into Foundations, but into a 5-part video series that I just really want to share. I want to give you tools. I want to give you value, because I'm seeing so many of my clients, and this is what I've lived through in my life, and that is struggling with these patterns of like really, really hard work and then really low lows, and kind of hiding how exhausted we are. And again, not just tired, exhausted that we didn't get enough sleep last night. That exists too. But like the soul exhaustion. Sometimes, I actually just spoke to someone about this last week who is a potential client, and they were saying that they just don't know what their purpose is. And if they knew what their purpose was, then maybe, everything would be better. And I know that that's a common thing, that people are looking for that. But our purpose is not something out there. Our purpose is this exchange of presence in the moment to moment things that we're doing. Like right now, I probably could take a breath with you, but I'm really trying to be as present in this exchange as I possibly can. And when we are in our dopamine addiction, we are removed from that purposeful presence. We're removed from that exchange of trying to be present with the thing in front of us. So if we're washing dishes, can we be as present with the water as we're washing dishes as possible? No one's present all the time, right? No one is present all the time. We're not monks that sit on the top of the mountain and meditate all day. So we're in this world, and my philosophy is that we do not have to become dampened by the growth of technology and the mirrors and reflections of all the things happening culturally, politically, socially, that we can actually evolve beyond it. We can evolve with it, and we don't have to succumb so much to the dopamine addiction if we are aware of it and we take very specific actions on how to honor our body and to honor our minds. And again, I want to preface that I'm not going to just be talking about dopamine addiction. I'm not just going to be talking about our detoxification system, but these are going to be some really big things. Like, how can we detox our life from some of the chemicals that we're exposed to? How can we detox, and a word I'll throw in there is keep our methylation pathways in our body going really well? How can we let things go? Because we're taking in so much from technology, from food, from environment. And it's really easy in this world to get lost in the fear or the worry around some of those things. And that's not what I want to do with all of you today. It's just more about looking at how often we become kind of strangely numb to it all, or anxious, or we're living in a constant state perhaps of anxiety or anxiousness, and it's become normalized to us, and maybe we don't realize that it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be normal. So we're teaching maybe a big theme of this. When I got on, some of you might not have been here yet, but I was suggesting that maybe exhaustion doesn't have to be a life sentence for us. Maybe it can become a superpower. What do I mean by superpower? What I mean is that when we are faced face to face with this patterning in our own body, in our own mind, in our own emotions of how we've been doing life, like our life strategy for how we navigate our schedule, how we navigate our time, how we navigate our down moments when we are needing to relax. If we can really look at that, we can actually start to teach our body different levels of safety. What do I mean by safety? Holding a different capacity in our body to feel safe when we're uncomfortable. So let me give you an example of that. So an example would be somebody who's might have had like a super anxious day. Maybe it's just been crazy, tons of overwhelm, lots of stuff in your schedule, and you need to relax, and you know that you need to relax, and you finally have some downtime, and you probably know, and I've done this too, right? Guilty as charged, that your best way to serve you might be to meditate, or to just quietly relax and listen to some music, or to, go for a walk. And instead, you find yourself an hour later scrolling on your phone. Or you find yourself an hour later and you've, just watched some show that you really didn't even care about. And what we do then is we shame ourselves, unfortunately, for these behaviors. But what really is happening is that this is a coping strategy that we're using in order to try to regulate our nervous system to calm down, or to, sometimes I don't like to say calm down because it's not always calming, but it's to find safety. It's to find ease and regulation. Our nervous system wants to find homeostasis. It wants to find ease and regulation. And sometimes going from anxious and busy and overwhelm of the day, and sometimes it doesn't have to mean loudness, but it just could be all the information coming at us, to going to not that that's the only form of meditation, but to go to like some kind of practice like that seems almost impossible for a nervous system that is in fight or flight or even freeze. So we look for things. Some people use drinking alcoholic beverages. Some people use marijuana. Some people use scrolling on their phone. Some people use Netflix and chill. Some people use those like gambling games on their phone. There's all kind, right? We get involved in gossip and other people's business. And this isn't about like calling those things out as like you need to be perfect and you can't have any vices. That's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is that there is a way for us to take these little moments of our exhausted self and really learn to hold more capacity in our nervous system for just a little bit longer, to sit in silence, to sit in stillness, to sit in the uncomfortable of not grabbing for the thing that's going to stimulate us. So if we look at this dopamine addiction idea, it's really meaning that we've been depleting ourselves. And then we wonder, why is our soul so tired? When I thought about coming live today, which was sometime last week, I planned to go live today. One of the things about going live is that you don't really get to plan. I mean, I can say whatever I want to say, right? And there's a beauty in that. But I'll be honest with you, I do have notes in front of me. I'm not really looking too much at them. But, I was like, oh my God, what if I forget to say some of the thing? And then you think, well, wait a minute. We're allowed to be imperfect. We're allowed to show up authentically and messy. And that's really what I want to do in this 5-part video series, is I want to give you an example through my life experiences, through my coaching that's very powerful with my clients and the courageous, amazing people that I get to work with. And I want to give you a bird's eye view of how we can detox our life from some of the things that have been hindering us for so long. And this is where I really needed my list. Is I'm gonna be talking about why this perfectionistic aspect of ourselves, which I believe we all have, by the way, some more than others. I'm a recovering perfectionist, by the way, so I'm very good at speaking on this topic. And we're going to talk about why that keeps our body in fight or flight. And when our body is in fight or flight, we have a really hard time detoxing out all of the crap that we need to detox to keep our body in optimal health. And so perfectionism seems like just this catchy topic, but really it's directly tied to the health of your physical body. Very important. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how conditioning, which I mentioned a little bit earlier, and trauma shows up in your gut health. And I really want to go into how we can work with that and start to recover your gut instead of trying to maybe control it. A lot of people look at their health as, I need to get control of this, or I need to fix it, like you're a problem, and you're not a problem. And your gut health is not a problem per se. It is an opportunity, and I believe it is one for pretty much all of us. Pretty much all of us. Let me say on a side note, one of the biggest things that impacts our gut is stress. It's one of the biggest things. So yeah, there's environmental things, there's food, but like the gut is the root of everything. So if we're not happy, it's our gut. If we can't focus really well, it's our gut. And it doesn't mean there's not other factors, but this is the biggest mama factor of them all. It's like bare bones. How can I start to improve my gut health in ways that are tangible for me? Because every single one of us is so different. And nobody has a body like you. So I really want to empower you in this series that I'm going to be doing to really look at your body and to look at your unique self and courageously decide to step in and be maybe different in the way that you approach how you've done it before. Can you give yourself permission to have a little bit more capacity to be in the uncomfortableness of something new? Okay, the third one we're going to talk about is why you might not be trusting your body and how to build that, or maybe rebuild that relationship. And this, to me, I would say that if I look back at pretty much, I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of clients. I'm probably over 5,000 coaching hours at this point, something like that. I don't know. I stopped counting, but a lot of time with amazing people. And if I was to summarize like the top two things, this would be in the top two. It's that people really want to trust their bodies. They want to be connected to their intuition, to their innate instinct. They want to be connected, even though you might not even think about, I doubt you walk through life, I want to trust myself. I don't think you probably do that. Maybe you do. But it's more like it's a deep level of like self-esteem and self-worth that we're establishing and really working from here down. Because most of us are just thinking in our head, but we're not like embodied this level of trust. So we might say, I trust myself. But are you embodying this trust? And if you're not, how can we rebuild that trust? Because every single time we've gone to, I don't know, a doctor that didn't have our best interests in mind, or they just sat there, like one of my clients told me today, she went to a new doctor and she just felt like she was just another person. They just went through the thing and they barely even really connected with her, right? And when we feel that, we then second guess our trust. And that's not fair, right? Because the system out there, I don't want to get on a tangent. This is like a whole other conversation. But the system out there, the health system, the financial systems, like you can start to see, I'm sure you're aware, that they are starting to crumble. They're starting to be destroyed. Why? Because it's time. This is the time we're living through, evolutionary. It's a new time. We're rebuilding. And so we're doing the same thing with our sense of self, right? So I know that's an interesting parallel, but just sit with that for a minute. As above, so below. As I am in here, everything is out there. Like how we see the world is how the world is. So we are learning right now as individuals and as a collective to rebuild our sense of trust. And this is absolutely massive. So that's going to be a really big video. The next one I'm going to talk about is how the body learns to shut down when we're going to put it in air quotes, purpose, or our sense of like vitality and aliveness, that maybe joy that you want to feel a little bit more of, or feel the feeling of like lightness in your body and energized. When that feels far away, the body can learn to shut down. And so what I want to do, and this is a bit of a nervous system thing, but I want to really help you find this path. And it's really a practice of how you can be in your body and feel into the things that you want to create that seem in the future, and you can feel into them right here and right now in your body. So if you want to, for example, lose 20 pounds, this becomes a practice to how can I regulate my nervous system and my and my mind and my emotions to align with the version of me that is going to create that. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about, and finally, and most importantly, is, and this is kind of ties into the previous one, is how to come back into a regulated state in your body more consistently so that your energy returns more naturally. And I said this a little bit earlier, but I'm just going to state it again. You know, you can, by the way, I've been doing detoxes and cleanses for over 20 years. I think a lot of them are great. I actually have an amazing 18-day cleanse. I'm not trying to sell it to you right now. It's not even open. I'm just telling you, like, I have an awesome cleanse that is a whole foods cleanse. So what I'm about to say comes from like my pure heart. You can do the best of the detoxes and cleanses. But if your nervous system is not finding its way back on a regular basis to regulation, then you won't be able to detox and you won't be able to sustain the health that you're trying to create in your life. Your nervous system will not hold that. And I want to be clear, it doesn't mean that we're regulated all the time. No one's regulated in their nervous system 100% of the time. That's not how it works. But it's really about how can we find our way back more often? How can we hold the capacity in our system to be regulated for longer periods of time, and especially during times that might be more uncomfortable, or times that in our life that might push us a bit out of our comfort zone, or when we happen to be in fear and we show up anyway, right? When we're in fear and we do the work around the fear and we show up anyway, then we teach our nervous system that we're safe. Is just a simple example, right? With the fear. So, by the way, and if you're ready for more, I'm going to be going so much deeper in the course called Foundations, and it's really mentorship and a course. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited to. It's one of those things that's been years coming, and for those who've been in my community and circle, they know that. And yeah, I'm just really excited about that. Let me just see if there's anything else. I just really wanted to say, to kind of wrap up, that, you know, sometimes when, you know, I got really honest with myself about why I felt so exhausted and tired all the time, and I was mad because I was doing the right things, right? Like, I had healed my sleep. I'll talk about that maybe more in another video of what does it mean to heal your sleep. But I also, I was eating really well. I was doing the meditation practice imperfectly, by the way. Not any of it was looking perfect, but I was showing up, and it wasn't getting the results. And that's such a frustrating place to be in. And I find that a lot of my clients are in that place. And so what I want you to do right now is, like, maybe, by the way, I'm going to be back at this time next week, so mark your calendar. But I want you to remember, it's not like a time management problem. It's not necessarily even like a supplement. It might be a supplement problem, because sometimes we are nutrient deficient, and but it's really that more we've been stuck in survival. We've been stuck in survival for a really long time. And if you look at the last 5 years, a lot of that has triggered for many, many people a survival state that has put us in a kind of frantic or hyper vigilant state. And then when you combine all the information and all the dopamine hits that we're getting on a regular basis and what that's done to us, we literally need a new foundation. We need new foundations to be able to build upon, right? You know how they say, like, if your house doesn't have a good foundation, what happens to it? It's not going to stay, right? And we want really good foundations, really good ones. But we live in a different world, and we're building a new world in many ways. We're building this bridge to this new world. I don't know how long that takes. It's not my job to figure it out. But I do know that when we watch a lot of this stuff crumble, we are also, many of us, and if you're still watching this video or this is resonating with you, then you are one of those lineage changers. You are one of those people who is here to help build the new world. And what do I mean by new world? I mean that, yeah, we have AI coming in, which is, well, it's been here, but it's like coming in strong. We have new opportunities that we may have never imagined before coming in. We have different changes happening with our food system and our health systems and our financial systems and in our culture and socially in the way that we connect with each other, so much. And so this is the time to build these foundations so that way you can grow and evolve in a way that's very powerful and courageous. And when I called some of you, lineage changers, I really mean that. You know, I tend to work with the people in my business as a coach and a mentor who are here to change the lineage. They might not walk around saying that all the time, but that's what we're here to do. We're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and we're not going to live like that anymore, and we're here to transform and change it. So anyway, stop blaming yourself. There are solutions, and I find this to be very exciting. I'm so grateful for those who tuned in live. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I'm going to be with you for 5 videos after this. I'm going to do a 5-part video series. So I'm going to be going live on this channel, and I'm very excited to connect more. I mean, what a beautiful gift that we get to go live and then people get to listen to the replay. So if you're here for the replay, hello to you. And just remember that you're here to make some waves, and you're also here to shine your unique, powerful, courageous, badass self. And I really want to help you do that. So let's not rest on our, well, that's a funny word to use, right? Let's rest. Let's actually rest, but let's not fall back into the old programming that tells us that we're tired, you know, all the time. And let's look at this as, if we feel exhausted, then let's rest and let's look for opportunities, as I'm going to unveil to you, that there are so many, for us to find this as a superpower that's going to help us to help so many others. Hopefully this makes sense, and I love you all. Have a good day.